Can you see me?
No, I cannot.
Hello?
Hi, I can't see you.
Oh, wait, let me figure it out 1 second.
Okay, I can see you now.
Oh, perfect. Well,
Hi, Jeremiah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Third time's the charm.
Yes, our audio hasn't been working for any of our viewers who wasn't on our last two. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
There we go. Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you for joining to anyone who's on here. My name is Ava, and today I'm going to be hosting a short little interview with Jeremiah as part of a digital marketing project. So the focus of this conversation is on social media strategy and how digital marketing actually works in real world situations. I'm really excited to be joined by Jeremiah today, who manages marketing for a student organization at his school. He also has experience running social media for both a restaurant and a sports client. So he's worked across multiple types of audiences and industries, which makes this a really interesting perspective because it wasn't just one, not just the student organization, but he's also worked with the restaurant and a sports client. So today we're just kind of going to be talking about what strategies actually drive engagement, how content differs across different industries, and some of the biggest lessons he's learned from hands-on experience. So thank you so much, Jeremiah, for being here. I'm really excited to get started. Do you have any
Yes, let's get
questions?
into it. No, I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for this insightful conversation.
So my first question for you is, can you just kind of give me like a walkthrough of your overall strategy for marketing on social media, and like what kind of platforms you prioritize and why?
Yeah. I think when it comes to like strategy, the main strategy that you have to know is that like every platform has its own strength and weakness. I feel like the main social media accounts that I use are definitely Instagram and TikTok, but I use it for two different like reasons. For example, like Instagram is definitely where you build that like brand identity. It's where someone goes to check us out for like the first time and like to decide if they actually like want to get involved. And also like I feel like it's Instagram is where you have your most loyal fan base. So when I'm very intentional when it comes to Instagram about keeping like the feeds cohesive, posting consistently, and making sure that like our bio and highlights actually like tell a story. Um, for example, like every meeting that I do the social media for American Marketing Association, I feel like every meeting I post on Instagram with information, and as I feel like Instagram is the most loyal. Compared to TikTok, on the other hand, I feel like that's definitely like pure discovery. Like the algorithm on TikTok definitely like will push your content to like more people who don't necessarily follow you, which I feel like you can definitely use to your advantage. Um, which is huge for something like a club like AMA, which you're trying to grow. So yeah, so basically, like I use Instagram to like really retain and nurture the community we already have, but I use TikTok to bring in new people, and also a lot of times I'll use like the Instagram stories for a lot of like day to day engagement, because like it's on the top of your feed without like cluttering your whole Instagram feed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really cool and really interesting. So another question I have for you is, what type of content has performed the best for the different social media accounts that you run, and what do you think makes it successful?
Ooh, I think it differs from like the different accounts that like I run. For example, like the AMA Club, I think the content that consistently performs the best is anything that really feels like authentic and human rather than something that's like overly designed or like promotional. Like for example, if I post like a really polished like graphic announcing an event, like it might get like okay reach but really low engagement. But if I post something like a let's say like a candid photo dump from the actual event, or like I don't know, or like something like a quick video of like what the atmosphere actually looks like. I just feel like it gets a lot more saves and like shares when it comes to that. And I think what really makes it successful is that like people are scrolling so fast. Like for some reason, like I scroll so fast when it comes to like Instagram and like TikTok. Like I'm not really like ever like watching the full video, but I feel like you really stop for something that feels like real or relatable and not something that necessarily like feels like an ad in a sense. But yeah, but when it comes to like the gelato, so I also like manage a restaurant in this like gelato account specifically in New York City, and I feel like for that it's a little bit different because when it comes to when it comes to that, they want to see content that's a lot more simple and clean and not something that's as personalized in a sense. And I think that just depends on like really knowing your demographic and knowing what works for each. Like, I don't know like what to say. I feel like I don't know, like when it comes to like AMA and like a lot of the times like it's like the demographic is very like college based versus when it comes to like the gelato cart, I feel like it's a different demographic, so you have to know like to tailor like which one to each. There, yeah, yeah.
That's really interesting. So another question that I have for you is how do you measure whether your marketing efforts are actually working and like what kind of metrics do you pay the most attention to?
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten a lot more intentional when it comes to metrics because I feel like a lot of times it can be very misleading. Like, for example, on TikTok, you can get like a lot of likes, but like the actual engagement when it comes to that, like it doesn't always the likes don't really translate in a sense. So I say the metrics that I mainly focus on are really the reach, the saves, and then for like actual events, if we're planning something like the actual attendance. Um, like reach tells me if the content is like being discovered beyond the like existing followers. Um, and then like saves, I know for me, like I'll only save something on TikTok or Instagram if like either if it's funny or I definitely want to go back to it. So if I run a campaign to like I don't know. I just feel like when it comes to saves, like it tells me that like people actually want to like look back into it. And yeah, and then also when it comes to like event turnout, I feel like that's also a huge like engagement way. Like if I run a campaign to promote something and attendance goes up compared to like the prior event, then I feel like that's a clear signal that the marketing itself is actually working. And yeah, and also I look at like profile visits, follow ups, if the posts perform well. And if like for example, if a person like likes the post and ends up following you after, I know like I don't know if it sounds corny, but like I turn someone like from a viewer into like someone that's like actually a member of the community.
Yeah, that's really cool. I really like that. So what strategies have you used to grow the different accounts audiences or increase event attendance for any events that you might have for your organization or maybe for your restaurant? And how do you do that through digital marketing?
Yeah. You said like strategies. You said strategy. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think like the biggest strategy that's worked like across all platforms has definitely been like the collaborations. I feel like partnering with other, um, just anyone, other people, other clubs or organizations has been really effective because you're instantly tapping into a whole new audience that already trusts the accounts they follow. For example, like I said, I run a sports account and they run it's basically he's a college basketball coach, and a lot of times I'll do a post for him, but I'll do a collaboration with the basketball team that he actually works for, which means that the post that I do will show up not only on his feed but also on the Instagram's feed, on the basketball's Instagram feed, but has a lot more followers and a lot more engagement, and that just brings that community straight to him, and gets a lot more engagement. So I'd say that definitely has been the most helpful when it comes to strategies. Second, I said before to you, I really have leaned into like Instagram stories a lot for promotion because I don't know, people just see it right on top of your feed. And I feel like it just like, when it comes to stories, I feel like it's just a lot more urgent and personal than like a regular post because it's only 24 hours. And then I'll also, for example, I'll do like a countdown, post reminders, and even like share like quick like behind the scenes previews to like really like build anticipation specifically for like events and stuff like that. And then finally, I would say the consistency is huge. Like, and I notice like not just on my accounts, but like other accounts in general, like when they go like quiet for a while and then start posting, it honestly like it seems a lot more fake and not as more like as authentic. I feel like you're just posting for the event. Versus like when we're posting regular and people like already engage with the content, like I don't know, they're more likely to show up.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you just said. So my last question for you is just kind of looking ahead. How do you see social media or digital marketing changing for student organizations, restaurants, and other clients? Like you said, your basketball coach. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah,
As one of
yeah.
your clients. And is there anything new that you might be excited to try?
I think the biggest shift we've been seeing is that like authenticity is huge. And it's definitely winning a lot more over like production value. For example, I feel for example, is like TikTok Shop. I feel like that's been like very popular. A lot of people are buying off of TikTok Shop, and it's because you have just regular people posting about products that they actually like, and they end up getting commission off of it. But it's a lot more personalized, and like you feel like you trust the person more than when you're doing like an actual brand campaign. So I think personality is huge. Like being authentic is huge, but also making sure you're actually being authentic and not just like performative authentic. An example that comes to mind with that is with like the McDonald's CEO. Um,
Oh yeah.
when he was like, I don't know, like he was like eating the burger, but like he like barely ate it, and then like it got a lot of controversy because it just showed that like he didn't even like eat like the food from McDonald's, and he's a CEO. So that's just an example of like trying to be authentic, but like you're actually just being very performative in a sense. But yeah, so I'd say just being authentic, make sure that something looks polished but doesn't necessarily feel like an ad. Oh, thank you for the gifts. Oh my gosh. Um, and then I don't know if yeah, and then I say like for student organizations especially, I think that that's really an advantage because like we can be like raw and real in a way that like a lot of big brands can't, because they have to be a lot more like professional and like tailored. Yeah. And then what was the second part of your question? Sorry.
Just like, is there anything new that you might be excited to try in the future?
I think in the future, um, I think definitely keeping a close look on AI is huge because AI is evolving in like so many different ways. I think using AI to your advantage, but also not just taking advantage of it in a sense. Like I feel like using your skill and having AI as like a great side to help you with that is very helpful. Yeah, because I feel like AI is great with not just like content creation, but also with scheduling. Like, I just think there's a lot of opportunity to work smarter and like free up some time to focus on strategy rather than just like on execution.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I don't have any more questions for you, but it was really interesting learning everything that you just talked about. And if I have anything that I need to do in the future with any Instagram accounts, that definitely everything you've said to me is very insightful, and I'll definitely use that in the future. And thank you so much again for joining me. It was really nice talking to you for the third time. Try and get, hopefully this time worked. But
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye.